Kitts and Nevis.
From the VON Newsline, this is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. Today is Friday, the 14th day of September 2018. I'm Marcellus Lee in with the VON's Major News Package. In our lead stories nationally, a new law term of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court to be officially opened here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the Caribbean Telecommunications Union to host the ICT seminar here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Regionally, Dominican Republic's immigration detains over 1,000 mostly Haitian foreigners. Internationally, Hurricane Florence makes landfall in the U.S. And in sports, the CPL match this evening between Knight Riders and Patriots for spot in the finals to face the Warriors. We'll have details of these and other stories after this break.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse.
Wow.
Welcome back, and now for the news in detail. A special sitting of the High Court in St. Christopher and Nevis on Tuesday, 18th September, will mark the commencement of the new law year 2018-2019 of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. There will be simultaneous special sittings in the other 8 member states and territories of the OECS. The proceedings will commence with a church service in each member state and the territory, followed by the procession to the High Court, where the formal sitting will be held. In St. Christopher and Nevis, the church service will be held at the Zion Moravian Church at Victoria Road in Basseterre, commencing at 8 a.m., followed by the inspection of the Guard of Honor and a formal court sitting which will be held at the High Court. The Chief Justice, Her Ladyship, Dame Janice M. Pereira, DBE, will deliver the opening address at 10 a.m. from St. Christopher and Nevis, where the Court of Appeal is scheduled for its first sitting in the new law year. The theme for the opening of the law year's address is Challenges, Opportunities and Resilience, the ECSC paving the way to a modern and efficient judiciary for the Eastern Caribbean. The Chief Justice's address will be carried live via simulcast to the other member states and territories of the OECS, and will also be broadcast to the region via the local media. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, the ECSC, was established in 1967 by the West Indies Associated States Supreme Court Order number 223 of 1967. The 17th Caribbean Ministerial Strategic Information and Communications Technology ICT seminar will be held in St. Kitts and Nevis later this month. Many critical issues, key developments, and trends in information technology will be discussed during the September 26th and 27th seminar, which will be part of ICT Week activities. The theme for this year's seminar is 21st Century Government, Enhancing Connections and Accelerating Progress. Secretary General of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, CTU, Bernadette Lewis, noted that the first ministerial seminar held in 2004 laid the foundation for the understanding of ICT, its evolution and implications within the region. She said that some of the expected outcomes from the seminar are understanding the principles of a 21st century government, a greater insight into emerging connectivity and resilient communication technologies, understanding why new policy and regulatory approaches are necessary, fostering ICT's enabled development, and committing to using information and communication technologies effectively. United Nations human rights experts are urging St. Kitts and Nevis and the other Caribbean countries to sign and ratify as quickly as possible the Escazú Agreement, described as a groundbreaking environment treaty for the region. The Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, said that the regional agreement on access to information, public participation and justice in environmental matters in Latin America and the Caribbean was adopted on March the 4th in Casu, Costa Rica, and will be open for signature on September the 27th at the UN General Assembly in New York. The treaty is the first of its kind in the world to include specific binding provisions for the protection and promotion of people, groups, and organizations that promote and defend human rights in environmental matters, ECLAC said. It said the treaty, which was negotiated under its auspices, is the only binding treaty stemming from the UN Conference on Sustainable Development, Rio+20. ECLAC said the regional agreement is open for signature by the 33 countries of the Latin America and the Caribbean and requires a minimum of 11 states to become operational. The Nevis Historical and Conservation Society will host the 26th annual Nevis Coastal Cleanup tomorrow, Saturday, September the 15th. The island-wide volunteer activity will run from 7 a.m. to 12 noon at various locations throughout the island. Volunteers will clean debris from wide stretches of Nevis' shorelines, borders, and other popular areas in an effort to reduce significant debris from entering the oceans. The Nevis Coastal Cleanup is Nevis' main contribution to the International Coastal Cleanup each year. The event, which is the largest world single-day volunteer effort, when volunteers are mobilized to clean up beaches and waterways. St. Kitts and Nevis is preparing to observe its 35th independence anniversary on Wednesday, 19 September 2018. The Federation, which gained independence from Britain on that date in 1983, has a number of activities planned for the weekend leading up to the celebration. One of the major activities leading up to the day is National Heroes Day, which is observed on September the 16th, 3 days before the independence celebrations. National Heroes Day this year will fall on a Sunday, and as such, the Nevis Island Administration will be holding a concert at the Cultural Village in Charlestown at 9 p.m. The concert will see world-renowned reggae bands Third World and Steel Pulse performing along with local acts with the likes of Deli Ranks, Speedy, Dejour, and Byron Messiah. On St. Kitts, there will also be a concert in the Frigate Bay lawn at 8 p.m. featuring Cranium and other local acts. Another major event will be the opening of the National Heroes Park on St. Kitts on Monday, 17 September. The park will feature profiles, pictures, and information on the late Right Excellencies Sir Robert L. Bradshaw, Sir C.A. Paul Southwell, Sir Joseph N. France, and Sir Simeon Daniel, as well as Dr. the Right Excellent and the Right Honorable Sir Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, the only living national hero. Likewise, lifelike statues of the foremost nation leaders will also be unveiled at the park during the opening. The theme for Independence 35 is Love, Service, Patriotism, and Pride, Independence 35. The late Police Sergeant Leon Shaba Powell was laid to rest today. He was state service at the Newton Gong Recreation Ground in St. Kitts and held in full military honors. Leader of the opposition, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel L. Douglas, eulogized the late sergeant. Powell served as the security detail of Dr. Douglas until February 2015. He was gunned down at his business place in Newton Gong on Saturday, 18th August 2018. Hundreds of mourners joined Powell's family and friends at the service. Following the service, the body was interred with full military honors at the Methodist Cemetery in St. Paul's. And teachers here in Nevis are being urged to encourage students to use the pedestrian crossings wisely. The call comes from Superintendent of Police and Divisional Commander of the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force Nevis Division, Lyndon David. He also stated that once used properly, the crossings would assist the police with road safety. Additionally, big trucks in particular take up lots of space on the road, and some corners they are not even blowing their horns, he said. It is understood that truck drivers are supposed to be driving within a particular speed limit at about 15 miles per hour in built-up areas. The superintendent said that police is actively addressing other areas to further enhance the level of safety in terms of road use in Charlestown and the rest of the island. And that's it for our national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vaughanradio.com, or you can check us out on our social media page on Facebook at Vaughan Radio and our Vaughan Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
the Bank of Nevis Limited offers you sizzling hot vacation loans. Come and experience summer like never before with our easy-to-access summer vacation loan. Get up to $15,000 unsecured with up to 2 years to repay. Take a trip, experience the world, or participate in our very own Culturama. Enjoying your vacation has never been easier with a relaxing vacation loan from the Bank of Nevis Limited. My bank, your bank, our bank. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook.
Welcome back in news from the region. Out of the Dominican Republic, Immigration Agency on Thursday said it detained 1,037 foreigners in nationwide sweeps in the provinces and municipalities of Greater Domingo. It said immigration inspectors headed the operations carried out during the week with the support of army troops and prosecutors. After background checks, 665 undocumented Haitian nationals were transferred to the border crossings of Dajabon and Elias Pina to be processed and deported to their country, while another 7 were taken to the immigration detention, that's the Immigration Department of Investigation. It added that the operations and other actions to enforce Immigration Law 285-04 will continue. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is in Beijing, China to strike deals with his crisis-hit country's biggest creditor. Up before departing Caracas, Maduro said the trip was very necessary, very opportune, and full of great expectations. He will be in China for a state visit from Thursday to Sunday, according to the official Xinhua news agency. China has loaned some US $50 billion to OPEC member Venezuela in the past decade, with Caracas repaying debt with oil shipments. The socialist-led Latin American country still owes US $20 billion to Beijing. Maduro may return home with a new US $5 billion loan and a 6-month extension to the grace period to service its debt. Maduro's government has massively devalued the national currency as part of a raft of measures intended to halt the country's free fall into hyperinflation. The trip to China is Maduro's first outside the country since he was allegedly targeted by exploding drones at a military parade in Caracas on August the 4th. He last visited China in March 2017. And Barbados has found a new supplier for petrol now that the Trinidadian government is planning to shut down its oil refinery, and that's according to Energy Minister Wilfred Abrahams. But while the government will try for a cheaper deal, it certainly has no plans to pay more for the refined fuel, and there will be enough stocks from the old supplier to last until a new import deal is in place. The government's oil importer, the Barbados National Oil Company Limited, BNOCL, is to sign a new petroleum contract by November with a fresh supplier, but Abrahams is mum on the identity of that supplier. The unidentified supplier is to replace Trinidad and Tobago's state-owned oil refinery, Petrotrin, which Port of Spain announced last month it was closing due to increasing financial losses, leaving 1,700 jobless. And out of Jamaica, Jamaica's Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Audley Shaw, says he's looking to link small ganja farmers with large processors who have the ability to convert the plant into a range of medicinal products. The cooperative would then link with the large processors within the pharmaceutical industry who would extract the oil from the ganja and export it in barrels to be used as raw material for medicinal uses, the minister outlined. Shaw stressed that the ganja business is not just for the wealthy who have the capital to do it. I want to build a model in Jamaica with opportunities for many farmers. He made the comments at a Youth in Agriculture public forum hosted by his ministry in collaboration with the World University Services of Canada's Promotion of Regional Opportunities for Produce through Enterprises and Linkages Propel initiative. Minister Shaw said government is looking to the younger farmers, especially those who have received formal training, to lead the way in finding solutions to challenges facing the sector. And that's it for the regional segment. When we come back, we'll have news from around the world. Welcome back on the international scene. Hurricane Florence has made landfall on the U.S. East Coast, knocking out power to nearly 500,000 homes and causing buildings to crumble. The center of the storm struck Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina with gales of up to 90 miles per hour. Rains and surging seas have already inundated coastal areas. More than 80 people were rescued from a collapsing hotel in North Carolina overnight. We hear more in this report.
You think this storm is so slow moving, it's so wide, it's as wide as North and South Carolina. And here it is bearing down on us, not just the coast, but the rivers that are inland. The people who are waiting to be rescued north of me, they're not on the coast, they're way inland, but they're at the mouth of a river. So what's happened is the water levels have risen, and just think they're going to rise even more because we are forecast to have 2 days of rain. Probably North Carolina is going to get record levels of rainfall. It may even get as much rain in 2 days as it gets in a year.
Super Typhoon Mangut has gathered strength as it barrels towards the Philippines, weather officials say. The storm is now packing winds of 160 miles per hour, and officials say more than 5 million people are directly in its path. Last-minute preparations are on the way before it makes landfall on the northern tip of the main island of Luzon by Saturday. More in this report.
So I'm here in Apuri in the north of the Philippines. It's the area where forecasters believe the super typhoon will hit hardest when it makes landfall in the coming days. It's quite windy here at the moment. The waves are quite high, but what we've heard is that when it really hits, it will bring storm surges of around 2 stories tall. This is a small town, a low-rise town, and I've been speaking to some of the residents here about how they feel about the storm. They say that they've been through this before, they've seen other storms. They said that they have been told by local councillors and police to move on and that there's an evacuation centre just 500 metres down the road. Now we've also been speaking to people who've been putting rocks and tying their roofs down onto heavy boulders to try to prevent their roofs from flying off when the storm comes. Some people have even said that they want to stay inside the property to make sure that thieves don't enter their homes to take their goods and belongings.
And former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort has agreed a plea deal to avoid a second trial, U.S. media reports. According to court documents, he has agreed to plead guilty to 2 criminal counts in the investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller. Manafort was convicted last month on 8 counts of fraud, bank fraud, and failing to disclose bank accounts. It was the first criminal trial arising from the Justice Department's probe into alleged Russian election meddling. However, the charges only relate to Manafort's political consulting with pro-Russian politicians in Ukraine, largely predating his role with the Trump campaign. And the 2 Russian men were arrested earlier this year on suspicion of spying on a Swiss laboratory investigating the poisoning of Sergei Skripal, a newspaper investigation has claimed. Swiss publication Tages, that's Aniger, and Dutch paper NRC said they were arrested in the Netherlands earlier this year. The Swiss lab analyzed samples from the poisoning of the former Russian double agent in the UK.
At the time, the Swiss laboratory was analysing data connected to the use of chemical weapons allegedly by the Syrian regime, as well as the nerve agent attack on Sergei Skripal and his daughter in Salisbury. Sources told the newspapers the men were carrying equipment which would enable them to break into the lab's computer network. The arrests in The Hague were not made public at the time. However, in March, the Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte said the government had decided to deport 2 Russian intelligence agents working at the Russian embassy. The Ministry of Defence refused to comment on suggestions these could be the same men as the would-be hackers who are under investigation in Switzerland.
And that's it for the international segment. When we come back, we'll take a look at sports.
Here 30. Can I get 35? 35 going once, 35 going twice. Sold at 35. Man, Independence feels great with TDC. Celebrate 35 days of savings at all TDC retail stores. Get up to 35% off in-store on a wide range of selected items. Get 35% off home and office furniture. Grab 35 items for only $35. It's TDC 35 days of savings. Up to 35% off selected items plus $35 specials. Celebrating 35 years of independence across all TDC retail stores. Independence just feels so great at TDC. Terms and conditions apply.
In sports and in cricket, the second qualifier of the Hero Caribbean Premier League CPL is set to take place this evening. This evening's match will see the Trinbago Knight Riders taking on the St. Kitts Davis Patriots at the Brian Lara Cricket Stadium in Trinidad. The match is expected to begin at 8 p.m. The winner of this match will move to the finals to face the Guyana Amazon Warriors on Sunday at 5 p.m. in Trinidad at the same venue. In tennis, Grand Slam singles competitions will continue to feature 32 seeds next year. The Grand Slam board had intended to revert to 16 seeds in 2019, which would mean leading players could meet a top 20 players early in the first round. However, the board has now changed its stance after analyzing this year's matches and speaking to players and broadcast partners. Following a meeting at the US Open, it decided there is no compelling reasons to revert to 16 seeds. In athletics, the World Anti-Doping Agency's Compliance Review Committee has recommended that Russia's anti-doping agency, RUSADA, remains suspended. The independent panel was set up in 2015 and increased its role in 2016 in response to Russia's doping scandal. WADA will vote whether to reinstate RUSADA on the 20th of September. In a letter seen by BBC Sports, the committee says Russia falls short on two demands set out by WADA in August 2017. Earlier, a group of UK athletes demanded the ban remains until RUSADA overhauls its anti-doping systems. RUSADA has been suspended since 2015 after it was accused of covering up drug abuse, including while the country hosted the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics, in a report by lawyer Richard McLaren. And in football, Serie A side Chievo is now on -2 points after the club was found guilty of accounting irregularities. The Chievo were docked 3 points, fined €200,000, and the president, Luca Campidelli, banned for 3 months. The Verona-based club was found to have inflated the value of some transfer dealings with Cesena, who are now in Serie D. Chievo had 1 point from the 3 games and at bottom of the table. The Italian Federation said the two clubs were referred for approving variations in the registration of some players, indicating a payment higher than the real value. The case against Cesena was dropped after the club went bankrupt during the summer. And that's it for sports. The latest weather is next. And the weather tonight, cloudy with a 70% or high chance of showers and a 40% or moderate chance of thunderstorms. Tomorrow, partly sunny to cloudy with a 70% or high chance of showers and a 40% or moderate chance of thunderstorms during the afternoon. The winds south-southeasterly at 3 to 8 knots with some lighter and variable or calm spells tonight. The sea is slight to moderate with a combination of swells and wind. That's waves of 1 to 1.2 meters or 3 to 4 feet. And sunrise tomorrow is at 1 minute before 6 o'clock. That was the latest weather ending the VON's Major News package. But before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, a new law year of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court to be officially open here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the Caribbean Telecommunications Union to host the ICC seminar here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Regionally, Dominican Republic's immigration detains over 1,000 mostly Haitian foreigners. Internationally, Hurricane Florence makes landfall in the U.S. And in sports, the CPL match this evening between Knight Riders and Patriots for sport in the finals to face the Warriors. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I'm Marcellus Lee wishing you a great weekend.